Welcome back. What a week. An explosive Senate hearing this week with former COVID czar Anthony Fauci. He pled the Fifth Amendment 111 times. He refused to answer any questions about what he knew about the origins of COVID and how the U.S. funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. Senate Homeland Security Committee Chairman Rand Paul now says he is going to seek to hold Dr. Fauci in contempt of Congress. Joining me now is Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Meuser. He also sits on the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, great to see you this morning. What was your takeaway to that hearing with Fauci?
Well, I think at least 70% of America saw it as I did, which was disgraceful, and agree that nothing says I have nothing to hide like taking the Fifth 111 times. Look, Dr. Fauci had a different agenda. We saw that by reading into his diary, what he stated there versus what he did publicly. I mean, he was the lead person, and he relished in it, as we saw, getting calls from the likes of Barbara Streisand. I mean, wow, he really felt full of himself. But, he crushed information, any other information outside of what he was putting out. He was the science. He did order and strongly recommend lockdowns in many states and stated he wasn't. He stated the death rates were going to be much higher than, they were terrible, but he used some fear there to shut down the country. He had connections to Wuhan, and he crushed the dissent within his NIH. So, there's so much there. And what the crazy thing is too, Maria? I think he put this on his government server. He wanted it to be found. This guy's ego was so big, he wanted it to be found without his suspecting, without his knowing, quote unquote, because he was so full of himself. He wanted these insights of his to become a book.
Unbelievable. It's amazing to me. When he first testified a year ago, plus more than a year ago, actually, in front of Rand Paul's committee, he basically attacked Rand Paul, said, you don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. We did not fund gain-of-function research. But then years later, now he's taking the Fifth Amendment 111 times. So what changed? Why? He told Senator Rand Paul to his face, you're not telling the truth. We didn't fund gain-of-function research. And now, all these years later, he doesn't want to talk about it.
And he did do it. And you know what? Let's face it. If he did tell the truth, he would destroy his reputation with his far left, supporters and his ego. And if he lied, he'd be in contempt of Congress. So The lawyers said your only choice is to take the Fifth.
Meanwhile, we've got earnings coming out. We just had better than expected earnings from Chevron. We're going to get earnings in a minute from ExxonMobil. We'll get to Cheryl when she has those numbers. They're just hitting the tape. The backdrop here certainly benefiting from a number of items, with the oil sector separate because oil prices are elevated. But what do you want to say about what you were able to get done with the big, beautiful bill last year, how it's impacting earnings, and what you can get done now ahead of the midterm elections?
There were a lot of great things in that bill, of course, which largely drove capital expenditures, capital and investment, CapEx. And we're seeing it. CapEx is way up. I think it's about 12%, but we're talking like $600 billion just over the last 7 years. Kevin Warsh is on board with that. He gets it. He understands the golden era of manufacturing. He wants to add to capital expenditure and investment. He wants to be part of the pro-growth side of things. And that, not just theoretically, but in reality, the only true economic axiom or theory that works is when supply exceeds demand, prices come down by market sources, not by the Fed raising interest rates. And I just love the idea that's what Kevin Warsh is saying, right? The market is driving interest rates, not not the gnomes of Jackson Hole.
And that's what President Trump wanted from day one. When he first got to office, he told me so many years ago he wanted the private Enterprise to lead the day. All right, let's get to private enterprise and take a look at ExxonMobil earnings crossing the tape. Not as strong as Chevron, that's for sure, Cheryl.
No, and actually they missed on earnings per share, Maria, and that's really the story here. They came in at $3.52. The street was looking for $3.60. So you are seeing pressure on the stock right now. They're talking about a lot, really about, I mean, their third quarter dividend, $1.03 per share. That's usually good news to the street, but the stock is getting a little bit hit in general. They're talking about free cash flow, $17.2 billion, but they're talking about the second quarter being shaped by disruption and also being defined by execution. And they're saying that they're saying that the operating models they built over many years are performing. However, and they're talking about upstream production in more than 2 decades, and that is strong. And they're talking about Guyana. They are making a comment about the Strait. They're saying the Strait of Hormuz closure for the entire third quarter is going to reduce Middle East production by about 750 KOEBD, which is a term that they used as far as barrels. They're also saying that they are going to be pulling back on scheduled maintenance, but also they're talking about damage to some of their lines over in Qatar, their LNG lines. And with those offline, they're saying that is hurting them as far as 100,000 oil equivalent barrels. Anyway, a little bit of a mixed story here from Exxon. Not really a good one, to be honest with you, Maria. The Strait is hitting the numbers here.
Yeah, and you have to believe that this disruption in the Middle East is having an impact on the sector, although you don't really see that in the Chevron numbers. But, you know, when you understand what's going on with this war, how could you not have disruption given all of the fighting? But ExxonMobil down about 1 3/4%. That's off of the lows. Cheryl, thanks for that. We're going to keep coming back to you with all these breaking news.
Real quick,
revenue was strong.
Yeah, the revenue 116.02. So the revenue was a strong beat on the revenue number, but it's not helping the stock. Sorry, back to you.
That is a big number on revenue. All right. Meanwhile, Dan Meuser, the Senate is still struggling to pass the Save America Act, despite widespread support for voter ID and proof of citizenship. You and your colleagues in the House passed this bill already several times. Over a dozen Republican senators saying that Leader Thune should cancel the August recess until the Save America Act passes. Congressman, your thoughts on this? Is this ever going to see the light of day?
We really have to get it done. Look, it's so very important. I mean, election integrity and part of our reconciliation is as well funding for farmers, for the agricultural community, so we can bring food prices down. It's really a grocery bill reduction act. We also have military funding in there, a supplement on the NDAA and the Save America Act. So yeah, look, the Senate has got to act. They got to get bold. They got to get aggressive. If it's reconciliation, so be it. Call it out, get it done, make sure the votes are there. And
well, how are you going to do it? The problem is you have no offsets, Congressman. You know that. I mean, you got the Reconciliation 3.0. You know, you hand it over to the Senate. Now they've got to come up with offsets to actually get this through and the parliamentarians' blessing.
The offset, in order to reconcile, the offsets have to come from somewhere. I mean, the funding has to come from somewhere. So there are answers to that. Just moving some funding from one area to the next. I mean, that's truly what's getting done to balance that out. But there's more. All this fraud and scams that are going on, both on the consumer level as well as on the taxpayer level. I'm going to be joining, by the way, JD Vance in that task force this coming week. So I'll be back in D.C. So I really appreciate that. I think I can contribute quite a bit. And we're also looking to codify some of the president's executive orders, like most favored nation on prescription. So we got work to do.
Get permitting on that list. Codify permitting, because that's certainly something that the oil companies want to see. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much.
So great to see you. You are the best. Thank you so much.
Dan Meuser joining us. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. Stay with us.